What if the deepest secrets of Islamic mysticism were taught not by famous male scholars in grand mosques, but by women mystics in humble homes and quiet corners? What if the divine qualities Ibn Arabi called essential to spiritual realization, mercy, receptivity, creative manifestation, could only be fully understood through the feminine? Ibn Arabi shocked his contemporaries by openly stating that women were among his greatest spiritual teachers. And what he learned from them reveals why the feminine principle is essential to understanding divine reality itself. This is not about modern feminism or gender politics. It is about Ibn Arabi's direct recognition that divine reality expresses itself through both masculine and feminine principles, and that ignoring the feminine leads to incomplete, unbalanced spirituality. Ibn Arabi lived in the 12th and 13th centuries, in a world where women's spiritual authority was rarely acknowledged. Mosques and madrasas were dominated by men. Religious texts were written almost exclusively by male scholars. The great Sufi masters remembered through history were overwhelmingly male. Yet Ibn Arabi did something radical. In his writings, he explicitly names women as his spiritual teachers and describes learning from them with the same reverence he shows to male authorities. He writes of Fatima of Cordoba, Shams of Marchena, Maryam of Seville, Nizam, and many other women mystics who shaped his understanding of God. What mattered most was not only that he learned from women, but what he learned from them. Ibn Arabi came to realize that certain essential dimensions of divine reality could only be accessed through the feminine, dimensions his male teachers, no matter how learned, could not fully transmit. One of his earliest and most influential teachers was an elderly woman named Shams of Marchena. She was illiterate, lived in poverty, and had no formal religious education. By outward standards, she had nothing to teach a brilliant young scholar, but when Ibn Arabi sat with her, he encountered something entirely new. She embodied what he later called divine receptivity, a complete openness to God without the interference of ego or intellectual control. She once told him, "You study the maps of the spiritual path. I am the territory itself." She did not analyze divine love, she lived it. She did not describe mystical states, she inhabited them naturally. From her, Ibn Arabi learned that the feminine principle in spirituality is not passive submission, it is active receptivity, the capacity to receive divine presence without filtering it through concepts. She taught him that the heart, not the intellect, is the true organ of spiritual knowing. This led Ibn Arabi to one of his most profound realizations. God contains both masculine and feminine principles, and divine reality cannot be known through only one. The masculine principle is associated with power, transcendence, majesty, and initiating force. These qualities dominate most religious language, God as ruler, judge, and absolute authority. But the feminine divine principle is equally essential. Mercy, beauty, immanence, receptivity, and the power that gives form to creation. These qualities are not lesser. They are different expressions of the same divine reality. Ibn Arabi went even further. He taught that the feminine principle is the very source of manifestation. The cosmos, he wrote, is feminine in relation to God. Creation happens through divine receptivity, mercy receiving creative impulse and giving it form. Another of Ibn Arabi's teachers was Fatima bint Ibn al-Muthanna of Cordoba, a respected mystic and scholar. From her, he learned that the feminine is not opposed to knowledge, but represents a different mode of knowing. While many male scholars emphasized analysis and categorization, Fatima embodied intuitive perception, direct recognition of truth without conceptual mediation. She told him that men often know God through names and attributes, while women tend to know God through presence. Both are valid, but only one leads to union. Ibn Arabi realized that true realization requires integrating both, the clarity of intellect and the immediacy of intuition. He also studied with Maryam of Seville, who taught him the creative power of the feminine principle. She explained that divine intention initiates creation, but it is the feminine that receives this impulse and gives it existence. The divine command "be" is masculine, she said, but the universe that responds "I am" is feminine. This showed Ibn Arabi that receptivity is not weakness. It is the power through which the invisible becomes visible. Perhaps his most controversial relationship was with Nizam, a young Persian woman he met in Mecca. She embodied both beauty and spiritual realization. Ibn Arabi wrote mystical love poetry inspired by her, later explaining that she represented divine wisdom itself. From Nizam, he learned that beauty and knowledge are not opposites, but unified expressions of the divine feminine. Ibn Arabi insisted that complete spiritual realization requires integrating both masculine and feminine principles. A spirituality that emphasizes only power and transcendence becomes rigid and lifeless. One that emphasizes only receptivity without structure becomes formless. The perfected human, the Insan al-Kamil, unites both fully. Ibn Arabi taught that every human being carries both principles inwardly. The spiritual path is the marriage of these inner forces: will and surrender, knowledge and intuition, majesty and mercy. This teaching is profoundly relevant today. When spirituality dismisses the feminine, whether in women or in consciousness itself, something essential is lost. Ibn Arabi would say that the universe itself is feminine because it is continually receiving existence from God. All spiritual practice, at its deepest level, is learning to become receptive to what is already seeking to manifest through you. This is why women were among Ibn Arabi's greatest teachers. Through them, he understood what the cosmos itself is doing in relation to God. Masculine spirituality strives toward God. Feminine spirituality realizes that you are already the place where God appears. The balanced path honors both. If this teaching resonated with you, take a moment to like this video. It helps this kind of deeper spiritual content reach others who are searching. Do you feel the feminine principle has been missing in your spiritual path? Share your thoughts in the comments. And if you want to continue exploring Ibn Arabi's hidden teachings, subscribe and turn on notifications. Until next time, remember Ibn Arabi's insight. The divine contains both masculine and feminine. To know God fully, you must honor both. And sometimes the teacher you least expect carries the wisdom you most need.